Well, welcome along to the Capital City Club of Wales's phone-in show. Good evening. Looking forward to a certain match on the weekend against some characters down west. But before we get into that, we'll get on to that. Loads of questions coming in straight away. Alworth, Peter Bradbury, thanks very much for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Bit of a change of role for Pete, actually, because he's normally Pete the Rant, but maybe not at the moment. Maybe that's next week. Maybe we'll see. But anyway, fantastic run of form after the doom and gloom because you've been off the show for a couple of weeks, Al. It was a doom and gloom special a couple of weeks ago and everything was looking horrible. Maybe since then, actually, you've been away. 4 straight wins, 5 without loss. Amazing run of form. Peter, I'll just ask you first, what were for me, I'll tell you my story about the game. It was a special game for me on the weekend. It was just like Roy of the Rovers, everything was like, it was just unbelievable. What an amazing game of football.
I thought we thoroughly deserved it. And I think I spoke to a couple of mutual friends of Al's and mine at half time. And I said, even if we lose this game, I'm so pleased that we've gone out with a positive frame of mind, actually gone attacking, had a go at a team at the top. Because I thought the Leicester and Leeds games were borderline shambolic, actually, the way we approached those games. And embarrassing. And we went, so to go in against Ipswich and have a real go against one of the most attacking teams in the country, one of the teams who love to counter-attack, it was absolutely fantastic. And I thought even at 1-0, I would have gone home feeling, well, we at least had a performance where...
I agree, yeah.
Where the team really showed up and had a go. But I thought we thoroughly deserved... and I think the win, I think Ipswich thoroughly deserved what happened to them. You go deep and you drop into your own penalty box the way they did, allow a team like us who we are. We may not create much in open play, but we do create a lot from crosses and corners and set pieces. I thought it was a really, really good performance. And when Wintle scored, I turned around to my son. I said, only one team's going to win this. And we went on. And
they looked shaky once we scored, didn't they?
I mean, yeah. And they're complaining it was a free kick in the build-up. It was a free kick, but it should have been to Cardiff because Leif Davis just completely obstructs Carl and Grant getting the ball. Referee made the right call in saying, right, I'll give a corner, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. And I don't think enough is being said about how well Jeju did in the build-up to keep the ball alive along with NG for the winner. And the Callum O'Dowda's good finish, considering he missed an easier chance earlier on. We deserved it. And I think we've been very good the last month. And it's almost as if that Blackburn draw
it did.
Changed everything, even though we didn't play very well that day. Yeah. And we look aside who were heading into a run-in, looking forward to the next couple of games, and rather than being fearful of those matches. And I think I'm not saying we'll make the playoffs, but I think we'll end well. Looking at how we've set up, and that's the way Bullet has to go. Yeah. At home, have a go. Yeah. That's all we ask. Have a go, and put teams under pressure. Brilliant performance, best one of the season so far. I think it was.
I agree. I'd go with that. I thought it was easily the best performance, the most enjoyable match really I've seen all season.
Yeah, I mean, look, following on from what Pete said, okay, we've been the players have come out afterwards and said, "Oh, we like the atmosphere, we like this." Well, they like the atmosphere because they gave us something to cheer.
Yeah,
it's going to be, we don't want to see just passing the ball to each other just across the back. And you've got to go forward with everything. And some of those performances were, they were fantastic. It's funny, isn't it? Bullet said, after that Blackburn game, and we kind of scoffed at the time. He said, we've got confidence back now. And I was thinking, well, come on, we just drawn 0-0 against Blackburn. But credit has to go to him and to the players. We were quick enough when we were on a dismal run to stick the boot in. Well, but at the same token, I think we have to give credit to him, credit to the players. He certainly got them up for these games. And Ipswich, was it a case of? I mean, they won 6 straight games going into that one on Saturday. And when we were talking about, I was saying, they're no Leicester, they're no West Brom, they're no Leeds. Some of the other teams, we've seen who've absolutely outclassed us. But was it a case of from the off, we didn't allow them to play? No. They had to play to our game and not vice versa. which very often we kind of sit back a little bit, don't we? Let the opposition take control. But I think right from the start, we kind of really got into them. And if someone had said to me again like a month ago, how are you going to cope without Mark McGuinness leading the team, which he was doing?
Yeah.
And now obviously Phillips has come in, and oh my goodness, I mean,
doing really well,
with Phillips, I think with Phillips and with Wilson Esbrand, I can't possibly see us keeping them because they are that good. Phillips just tremendous, and there's a certain intelligence amongst the team at the moment. The way they're playing, thoroughly impressed. And then brings people like Wintle, who he'd had his doubters. It brings the level of his performance up. We could go on and on, Steve. I'm glad we can. We can go on and on. Yeah. But look, later we'll talk about the strength of the bench.
I got a comment for you, which you'll love from Nigel Blues. Hopefully, you can see this on the screen there, Al. We'll see how that one shapes up. Terry Walton is just joining us, which is great. Lovely to get Terry on the show, by the way. So a couple of things about that game. Hiya, Terry. Glad you could get in. Sorry if there's any difficulty there.
Yeah, I had a few problems, but I'm in nevertheless.
Brilliant. Well, we're still talking about Saturday because it was so great. So bear with us. It's plenty to talk about there. Right. So, Al, one of the things I picked up on, there was a couple of things on YouTube. There was this lad who goes around all the different clubs in the championship, posted something, I'm going down to Cardiff, really kind of dismissive and saying basically the football was terrible and we were lucky and la 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 la. Then there's this other lad who did a really good piece for Norwich where he was obviously on the Norwich end, and at the end. Their fans, all three fans, were quite articulate and kind of human. Wasn't a thug amongst them, which was quite nice. But they included this young lad. I'm sure, I don't know if Pete's seen it, but I'm sure if it been, so if it had been one of if it had been your son, you'd been proud as hell of the lad, wouldn't you?
He was so articulate. And they turned around and said at the end, basically, of the second, on that vlog, and I have seen it, that Cardiff deserved that, we deserved our win, and they're absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I agree.
And the fact is, we deserved, and I'll say now, we deserved more from the away game as well. We played really well at Ipswich and had a 10-minute mad spell where we conceded three goals.
Yeah.
I thought we were excellent Saturday. And Al's picked out Nat Phillips. He was really good, I thought. I have to say, I think Overhaaf is excellent, the goalkeeper. I really do. But I thought Wilson Esbrand again, he is a unbelievable find at left back. And he's up and down, and I really felt the subs made a massive difference, as well as a comment saying that they should have been from Hugh Nicholas, so they should have been brought on earlier. I agree. But I think, Ruben Colwell, again, and he has been consistently, even when the team hasn't been playing well, he's consistently been brilliant. And I'm really optimistic going forward, particularly when you've got an intelligent player like Callum O'Dowda coming back from injury. He doesn't beat a man, but he's so intelligent. How many players, when the ball comes into the box for Wintle's goal, would have headed it towards goal? But he had the common sense and sense of purpose as a footballer to head across goal. Like Kevin Nugent back in the day, Steve. For the runner to come in and score the goal. It was brilliant. It was terrific.
Okay, we're all quite excited about. We'll get on to other stuff, Terry. We're all quite excited about that amazing match. Did you catch much of it? Were you there? Or did you see much?
I got my phone. I got a little thing on now. I can watch Sky on my phone. So they were playing extremely well first half, and I was quite pleased. The performance was coming back, and then it was a big downer when Kiefer Moore put that in. I thought, our heads will drop now. It'll be a 1-0 defeat again, but the substitutions came on. They played well, and then when Wintle come back, I said, right, we'll settle for the draw. But to have that dying second O'Dowda goal, absolutely brilliant.
What was your reaction, Terry? Were you jumping around the room? Or?
I went back. I was going absolutely mad. I was going absolutely... it's been such a bad period since Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Us Cardiff fans, we're an impatient lot. We had our mid-season hopes, and then now all got dashed. And over the last few weeks, it's all coming back again. Just bothers me now. I mean, a lot of stuff going on the social media now, saying, "Oh, we're not ready for Premier." You're always ready for Premier, whether you stay there, whether you spend the money is a different issue. But let's get up there, and I mean, it'd be great to get into playoffs and sneak that last place. When they want to be what a flip to the season that would be.
Yeah,
we've got us going up if you tear.
We're trying to avoid that, Terry.
Always very optimistic. Always very optimistic. Well, it's only 5 points in it, isn't there, at the end of the day?
You know, we're going into springtime, so you know the bulbs are going in. You know, who's going to flower? There's so many gardening analogies there, I know, but we'll come back to that.
You've got to be ever optimistic, haven't you?
Yeah. Actually, I've got my mate I'll tell you about my mate I went to the game with on the weekend. So his name's Jeff Dela Cruz, and he lives in Ireland. And he flew in from on Ryanair from Dublin, flew into Bristol, came across, met me before the game, went in to see the game, and after the match, straight to the train station, back to Bristol Airport, and back home again. He said, and I've known him, Terry, like 35, 40 years.
Yeah. And
we both said the same thing. It's one of the most enjoyable days out we have ever had. It was like, you know, like I said, like Boyzone, you know, Roy of the Rovers stuff. O'Dowda back after 6 months, you know, gets the winning goal, playing against Ipswich, 95th and the 100th minute or whatever it was. It was just, and me and him, and he's 17, he's got a dodgy knee, you know, we're jumping up and down, hugging each other, you know, and then wrecking the guy's jacket in front of me and all the rest of it. Just unbelievable, so exciting, you know, great stuff.
Steve, we were 1-0 down, 90 minutes, so it was 2 o'clock, okay, 90 minutes were gone or whatever, and I had a text from my mate, and I thought, well, where was he? Because he'd normally next to me, and he said, I didn't realise it was an early kickoff. And then I'd mentioned this then to my son, and he said one of his mates turned up as everyone was leaving.
Oh God, what a game to miss, isn't it?
Well, a lot of people, you see, I've always had a go. People leave early, okay?
It's on the screen now, yeah.
Especially now with the added bloody 8, 9, 10 minutes on. How would you ever leave early? But loads of people do, don't they, to miss the traffic. And I'm not sure how many people would admit to leaving early on Saturday, but they will have been, won't they?
Well, they would have been. I mean, I think a lot of people would have felt deflated after Kiefer Moore put that ball in. It's going against the run of play. Ipswich was starting to come into the match. Then to score that goal, that was going to be ironic and a travesty, wasn't it? If a guy that had been linked to Cardiff since January was coming back, he was going to be our saviour up front to sneak that goal in. In fairness to him, he didn't celebrate it.
No, he didn't.
Cool, but I thought that's it. We're now going to be, what a way to lose a game. But but maybe back in my day when I went down on the train, if we weren't out at 90 minutes, you missed the train at Ninian Park Halt. You couldn't get on the damn thing.
Yeah. Where are you traveling back to, Terry?
Up to Funapia.
All right, yeah. You don't want to miss that one, do you? Fair play.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous, you know. When you saw it from we were talking it before when we're coming in, the people from Norwich, you know, and their perspective from the other end of the ground.
Ipswich, Steve. Ipswich, Norwich.
Sorry, Ipswich. Sorry, a Freudian slip. Yeah, your small club in Norwich, is that?
Small club near Norwich.
Yeah, but it was nice to see that perspective, and it was a fantastic result.
I mean, that's a horrible run. That's a good 5 hour on the road run.
Oh, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and respect to them, but decent, fantastic away following for a 12:30 kickoff. But
of course, because they were going to go above Leeds and put the pressure on Leicester, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, that's what there's an interview on YouTube. There's a little lad. I don't know how old he was, maybe 12, 14, something like that. I don't know wherever he was, but just, you know, as a Norwich fan, Ipswich fan, sorry, talking about it. Ipswich Norwich, it's the same thing, isn't it? Callum O'Dowda, Al, I was so pleased that, in a way, that it was him who got that goal. He was ecstatic, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was Scott Johnson on Twitter. I'm not sure. I think it was, or could have been Glenn Williams, one or the other, said that when they have a post-match press conference with him, how different it is when you're speaking to him, because he quite clearly thinks before he speaks, which is unusual, I suppose, amongst footballers, isn't it? He just comes across, doesn't he, as such an intelligent bloke. And it must be hard. You know, I didn't realise how long he'd actually been out, and he mentioned, he's 6 months out, and he'd had a setback along the way. And you could see then how much that meant to him. And before we came on air, I'd said then with Pete, unlike years gone by, he'd already said in the interview, he said, the only thing that could have made it better was if it was next weekend. So the players have already got it in them. You know, they've been around now at Derby victory, which is great. They've got people like Joe Rolls, who I noticed has signed an extension just before we came on here, didn't he, this afternoon? He signed an extension.
Yes.
So he signed an extension to his contract.
They signed a contract, because he was one of the few still outstanding, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he's extended. So you've got people like Rolls and Ramsey who are able to be there and say, look, we know what this means now. You know, in years gone by, we've always said, haven't we, the players don't, the club don't get it, the players don't get it, no one gets it but us. But I think that's changed now. So good. Roll on Saturday.
So Pete, what was your so Joe Rolls, you know, it's a 1 year extension. He's 30, you know, so there are always mixed opinions on Joe Rolls. What's your take on Joe Rolls, Pete, and how are you pleased to see him secured for another year?
Pleased for the bloke, because I love him as a guy. I think he's a real good character to have around as a player. You know, I think our fans really overrate him, and but to be honest, his energy, his work rate, and his love of the club, great that he's signing a new deal. I don't want him to play for anybody else either, if you know what I mean. But he's certainly, for me, I've always thought he's been consistent part of a midfield that have been overrun for years and years. I will say this: I have slaughtered Wintle all season this year. I think he is a pass completion midfield player. He takes the easy option to get his stats up every single time. He was terrific on Saturday, terrific. And if he's going to be back playing that way, then I'll be much happier. But please for Joe Rolls, the guy. I think he's been a really good servant for the club, and I don't want him to go anywhere else. But as a player, I do hope we don't think that he's a long-term answer. I do still think we need a young, vibrant midfielder in there to play alongside Siopis.
Talking about young and vibrant, should we bring Terry in? What's your thoughts on that, Terry, on Joe Rolls?
Well, yeah, I totally agree with Peter. I mean, he's been a good servant to the club. You know, he's there or thereabouts continuing. And for him to leave now would have been a travesty. I felt, you know, another year extension. You know, despite my previous comments, I think next year is the year we really got to get our side together and really go up there and go up at an automatic promotion place rather than be fiddling around.
Blimey. Okay, well, we'll
I have to say about Rolls, though, his set-piece delivery is one of the best in the league.
Yeah, he put a good ball in towards the end, didn't he?
Unbelievable. And, like, you know, and I guess my point is he's again, if we were to have another younger player as an option and Rolls, I think that's really good for next season. I suspect Bullet will still be looking at that 6-8 access, you know, and getting someone in to play alongside Siopis as an option.
That's the next question.
What's that, Terry?
Are we keeping Bullet? That's the next question.
Well, that is the next question. Yeah. So you know, having had this run of 5 games now, you know, 4 wins, a draw, probably one of the form sides in the division, to be honest, because we beat Ipswich and they were going great. What would you do? What would you do about Errol Bullet then, Terry?
When he came in, he was a breath of fresh air. He did a lot early on in the club, so there was something there. I just don't understand. Something went wrong in that dressing room in December into January because the players couldn't be. They just suddenly became from good players playing exciting football to playing absolute crap, and he couldn't. Whatever Bullet was doing wasn't working, and I think there was a lot of falling out somewhere, but it seemed to be healed now. Yeah. And I still personally think in the background, Tan has laid some ground rules down saying if we're not in the top half of the table, and he may even put a clause in that if we get into playoffs, then you get a contract. If we don't get that, you're not staying.
Well, you really think Vincent Tan's the kind of man to do something like that?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Al, who was your man of the match on the weekend? And I don't know whether you want to respond to Steve's comment on the screen there as well. But for me, I thought Siopis personally.
Right.
Siopis without the doubt, because he came in and he was a breath of fresh air, wasn't he? And then suddenly he played absolute rubbish. But yeah, he was all over the place, and everybody put a shift in, but he put in more than a shift on Saturday.
What about you, Al? Who do you think?
We mentioned him a little earlier. I don't know if we were on here or not. Peter said about Turnbull. I mean, in terms of
looks good, doesn't he?
Well, him showing us what he's all about. He looked absolutely fantastic. He was pulling the strings, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did a great shot, didn't he? That was a hell of a shot.
He didn't seem to put a foot wrong, to be honest with you. The back four, absolutely tremendous.
Yeah,
I mean, it's difficult to pick out one. I think possibly Turnbull, only on the basis that I just think he's showing us what he's all about. A few of us have spoken to Celtic fans previously who said how good he is, and we hadn't seen it. And obviously, then he sort of, when we were in the sort of the doldrums a sort of a month ago, we were saying, "Oh, crikey, what does he think he's joined?" and so on. But now he's probably thinking, "Crikey, this is great."
Well, the question for you, Al, is he entitled to drive that car now?
No, he's I think moving on though to Saturday. I know it's not all about Saturday, but whether do we make any changes to that starting 11?
I would. I'd make one. And I said this off air. I think it was a really interesting conversation we had off air. Often, sorry, listeners, often the best conversations we had. But I watched half hour of the Bristol City Swansea game on Sunday. We just out of interest, and I thought their fullback Josh Tyman really struggled against Tommy Conway, who's the Bristol City striker. He was
decent player.
Out wide. Yeah, decent player, but he's a striker and he was moved out wide. And Conway was just getting around the back of him every time on the outside. So I would bring O'Dowda in on the left and move Grant to the right. And get Grant to go at Josh Tyman and have a go at Kabanga, because Kabanga was having to come over and cover and was uncomfortable a lot. And they were giving away a lot of corners and free as a result of it, because they were having to cover and clear the ball. I think I would go that way. I would definitely start Turnbull, even though I'm a massive Ruben Caldwell fan, because I think Ruben coming off the bench has been brilliant. He injects new life into us, and that's an art, a skill in itself, isn't it? Coming off the bench and being able to inject a little bit of difference into the game. But I would go with the right winger on the right and the left wing on the left, an old-fashioned way, and get at those full-backs.
Well, I mean, that's what I've been saying for weeks, Pete. Because I'm an old-fashioned guy. I thought towards I said it the week actually about front three. My front three, I think I would have gone with Mate because his physicality, because he just he just bumped people about. But I would definitely go with Grant down the right, no doubt down the left. That, and I think on the weekend if we go with that, maybe Jeju, starts up front. That's not so bad. I can't see Errol Bullock doing that, but there we are. We'll see.
Pete's mentioned the fullback. They've got a centre half, Nathan Wood, and apparently he was arguing with the fans of Bristol City. And there's been some outcry over social media. What the fans doing, what the players doing, arguing with the fans. All's not good. A lot of their players, they're coming out of contract, going back to their parent clubs in the summer. They're looking at a bit of a car crash at the moment. So it's down to City really to go and put them to the sword. But you know what we're like.
Well, you be careful because WP might be watching this. I don't know whether you can see the thing on the screen there from Nigel. I'll go to you this, Al. I don't know if you can see it. How did the panel explain the change mentality, from front foot football, no respect to Ipswich? We stood off Leeds, Leicester and others, letting them play as they wished all winter long. But really from the start, we were on them, Al, weren't we?
I think we've got to, like I said earlier, I think you've got to give that down to the manager. I think something's happened. I can't imagine these players one day just go on the field and go, we'll have a go at them today. I think something's happened. He's put a rocket up some backsides, I think. I'd like to think so.
It's his spring wear now. As I said to you before, now he's got his spring wear on and he's wearing the cool jacket again. He's a different guy.
He's like man at CNA, isn't he? He's something about the place.
He's very stylish, isn't he?
Yes. Look, might it be, I mean, we were all criticising him, but if he finishes this season strongly, then he's going to get offered a contract, isn't he? So
when do we make that decision, Al?
What in reality, or when should we?
When do you think we should make that decision?
The biggest problem we've had, right, as a football club, is if we say to him now, right, okay, you're okay, then does he take his foot off the gas a little bit? All right, Alice or Mick McCarthy. I don't think he's that sort of bloke. If they are doing things behind the scenes, as demonstrated by getting roles signed up today, you'd like to think that those people responsible for doing things like that are also thinking about the manager. Now, I don't think we're going to get to the playoffs, but we're not going to get relegated. He's done his job, okay? And I would now, it's all about stability for me. And I think we should offer him a 3-year contract.
International break would be the logical time to do it, wouldn't it? I mean, I wouldn't have given him a contract a month ago, and I loved him at the start of the season. But a month ago, I was like, leave him in place the end of the season and then look elsewhere because it looked so dire. But I'll give him credit here. He did an interview after the Blackburn game. And at the time, I thought, oh, God, he looks a bit desperate. But he turned around, he said, I've never lost as many games as this in a row as a manager before. I need to look at myself and what I'm doing. And I thought, well, that could go either way. And he's clearly, since then, gone more. We've been gradually getting more and more, to answer Nigel's point, more and more on the front foot. He's not going to play, I don't think, again this season, that Raw, Siopis, Wintle trifecta. Like, I think he's learned his lesson from that. You know, he's got a happy medium in Turnbull. He plays a little bit deeper, but gets pockets of space and looks to play forward and looks a very classy player. He's got Colwell coming off the bench. He's got Ramsey coming back fit. I think he thinks in this league now, I've learned my lesson. I can't. It's not like Turkey where you're solid and then you go and win games in the second half. In the Championship, the game can be done, you know, in the first half. And Leeds and Leicester were an example of that against the very top teams. So I think he will. He does deserve a new contract. I think they'll give him a rolling 12-month contract in March to the end of next season. And I think that suits everybody if they do that. I personally would prefer they gave him 3 years and tell him he's got a bit of time. But I think that's what they'll do. And I think if you look at what he's done when he's got his players he wanted to get in at the end of January, they've all worked out. Even Jeju's looking a lot better now.
Since he scored a goal.
Yeah, exactly. And he looks like Sami Kaba, doesn't he? He's not going to get involved in anything on the outside the penalty area, but you get him in the box, he comes alive.
Well, exactly that. Yeah,
it's an interesting point, Steve, with regards to, because I mentioned with regards to stability. So I picked up off Twitter earlier. We've only got 5 players out of contract at the end of the season.
Who are they? I've got them
right. I've got them right, and none of them are involved. None of them are anywhere near the first team squad now. Sawyers, Ojo, Kieran Evans, Ollie Denham, and Chan Kasimba. Okay, so on that basis, okay, if the manager's now saying that he's got the players he wants, we can ship all those 5 off. That's no problem. He's got the nucleus there of a squad minus a few loan players. Okay, fit. Like I mentioned before, I can't see us keeping hold of Phillips. I can't see us keeping hold of Wilson Esbrand.
I think Phillips is an option, Sal. I think Liverpool. He's 27 now this year. He needs to play football.
Is he on massive money though, Pete? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know about his wages, but I don't think a fee will be a problem. I think Liverpool would allow him to leave to play football.
Okay.
Wilson Esbrand is staying.
He's out of contract as well, isn't he?
Coming back.
Yeah,
well, what Bagan coming back as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of rave reports about Isaac Davis out on loan, isn't there?
Yes, there are. Yeah.
Really looking forward to seeing him next season, Terry.
Yeah, I think he's going to be up front next year because he's playing a great game out there and he's getting lots of rave reports. So we got him to fall back on next year up front as well.
Where's Isaac? Where's Isaac from, Terry? Terry, is he from near your way, your area?
No, not I know of anyway.
Mountain Ash.
Mountain Ash. So it's over the mountain, yeah?
Well, no, it's over several mountains.
What's your thoughts, Terry? Because you've been supporting the club for a long, long time, you know. I know it's a bit of an old chestnut, but I think it's really true. But particularly with, I don't know, maybe all clubs, but with Cardiff City, when it's a local lad, you know, how important is that to the fans, and how much of an asset is it for the club to get some local lads in there, you know?
Oh, that's a big asset. I mean, you take it over the years. The problem with Cardiff City over the years, they've always had a good academy, behind them. They've had a lot of good players. You only got to take Ramsey when he came through originally.
Yeah,
he was standing in those days. But, the big money comes along and then all these top youngsters get drawn away. And I think we've always had a good academy group coming through. And I think it's great for the club when you see a youngster come through and become playing top-class football and everybody's chasing to get him. We've never had ambitions to be a top club in the Premier. So we've never hung on to players. We've just, as soon as they become valuable, they go. Cardiff's always been money-orientated rather than being fun and success-orientated.
Yeah, I want to completely change the subject because I'm sure we'll come back to that because that's a good point. But Jeff Delacruz, right in Ireland, has asked you, Terry. He's surrounded by peat bogs.
Yeah.
So what are the best vegetables he could grow in those peat bogs? He wants to know.
You grow anything in a peat bog. I mean, but the only trouble is, he's the Irish are losing all their peat bogs. Nobody's.
Yeah, that's right. There, illegal. Yeah.
So you're gonna have to. He's a bit late coming by into gardening in peat bogs because those days are gone. Peat is there's a no-go now. Every celebrity gardener on television says use peat free.
I bet his favorite thing at the moment is bog carrots. Just to put that one out there.
Never tried bog carrots. Perfect for them. Peat is perfect for carrots.
We'll get in the old days. We could have got Terry on the state of the pitch and the sandpit down the middle, but those days are kind of gone.
I'm still waiting for my opportunity to turn up at the Cardiff. A sin bin program 2-3 seasons ago on the pitch at the Principality, telling them all about the grass.
Well, that'd be great, wouldn't it, to get you down there? Jonathan Wilkins. He's been involved in that, Al, I think, hasn't he, over the years? Wasn't he?
Has he?
On the ground stuff, I think, at City for a while, yeah. I think so.
The state of the pitch, I mean, when we first went to the stadium, our pitch wasn't the greatest. It's fantastic.
No.
I look back to the first year or two after it opened, they had problems. It's looking really, really, really good now. I saw a lower league game the other day at League One, and we're spoilt with the condition of our pitch now. You see some of the League One teams, what they've got to play with, it's stark different, really is.
One thing Jeff was moaning about was he couldn't smell the grass, when he's in the ground. Not like the old days. You said you can't. That's what.
Moving on quickly.
Going on back to Joe Rawls. There's loads of questions coming in. I'll come to you in a second. Sorry. Of course, if he gets a new contract, he's the longest serving player. He's been around a long time. Testimonial time for Joe, is it then?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? With the extra year, he gets a testimonial, and he deserves it. I mean, like you say. He's hung around a long time through good and bad. So let's see. I as I say, I'd be gutted if he went somewhere else. I do think the club needs to start looking after these long-term players a bit better. I didn't like how Whittingham left the club, for instance. Sol Bamba the same. It's I think. So I'm glad he's getting a new deal, and I hope they give him a testimonial. He's a very popular member of the dressing room apparently. So I'm sure every other players would love to play in a testimonial. And you can imagine if the historic players coming back for the game, we'd have quite a generation of players, wouldn't we?
Yeah, and he's not really that old, is he? He's 30. He's not like ancient, is he?
No, he's like I say, he's got great. His main strength has always been his fitness and his engine. He's not great. He's not a fantastic passer of the ball, but he can break up play. He's a great deliverer of a set piece, and he works hard. As I say, I do hope the club are looking to move on from him, but he's still got a lot to add in that squad.
Yeah, we still need Pete, don't we? We still need. I think a backup, left-footed midfielder. Really, we haven't really got that, have we?
No, we haven't. And like we haven't got anybody who can pick up the ball from the back four. When after the back four, we have drawn the strikers forward as we try to do. We haven't got a midfielder who can pick it up back to play and then try and play forward. And that's been an issue all season. Everybody blames the defenders for going playing side to side, but actually it's the midfield not getting it's not having that number 8 pivot who's able to pick up the ball and go forward and play forward. And I think we desperately needed that in the summer. But, I have to say, though, you look at our squad now they're all fit.
Yeah, good choice, haven't we?
It's top. It certainly is top 12 worthy, isn't it? There's options all over the park. And I think it's coming together at the right time. And a little run here now, we can be optimistic. And I certainly think there's nothing to fear about Saturday. And I really hope we go there and put a performance.
Everyone knows we're getting to Saturday. So Saturday's, there's been a lot of the show talking about Saturday. Just as we lead into Saturday, I'll come back to you, Pete, on that, because we are going to Saturday now. Richard Davis, I totally agree. Richard, best performance of the season. Loved the way we kept going right to the death, and there was an explosion at the end. It was just absolutely incredible. It was just one of my favorite City moments, I think, of games I can remember.
Jane was calming him down, I bet, when he was celebrating that winner, telling his wife who he sits next to.
Over the last few years, though, Pete, if we're honest, right, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, there's been some pretty grim, unappetizing, unexciting, boring, abject afternoons spent watching Cardiff City, and it was like just great. It's just from all the way through, 100 minutes of just different game. Just want to say one thing to you, Pete, before we move on to Terry with a similar thing. Really, I think I've worked it out because we conceded. We got battered in one game. We lost 4-1, and we conceded the last goal. That was Norwich, 13 minutes from the end. So I am tempting fate by saying this, right? But we've conceded, I think I'm right in saying, 1 goal in 7.5 hours.
Yeah.
And, Terry, so defensively, we were looking so good now. And that's where we've turned the corner, I think.
It is, because we're not chasing the game now. They was unlucky on Saturday, that 1 goal went in. But prior to that, we were solid there. And again, the other stat I saw over the weekend was whenever we've gone down by a goal, we've never won that game. So that was against the play of our season on Saturday. When we fallen behind,
that's true.
We never come back to win.
Yeah.
Wilson Esperand has made a massive difference, Steve. If you look at how we were playing in January and February, Collins was absolutely shattered. And everything was going down his side. McGuinness was also struggling as a left-hand sided defender because of it. We brought in, McGuinness has picked up a knock, he's unlucky, but we brought in Nat Phillips and Wilson Esperand, and they've solidified that left-hand channel. So nothing is going down that channel now. And you could say a lot about NG. I'm a massive fan, but defensively, he's always been solid. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think now when you look at our back four and the goalkeeper, he's
coming good, isn't he? Yeah.
I think actually now you've got a side who it's very difficult to get. It's very difficult to get around. Actually, to be fair to Kiefer Moore, that was a quality goal he scored on Saturday.
It was a really good goal. Do you think Kiefer should have done better?
No, I thought Nat Phillips, who was outstanding, should have done better. He showed him onto his stronger foot and he drilled it into the bottom corner, didn't he? But it's one of them where I think you just put your hands up and say that's just quality strike play, and it was. I just think, and you've noticed now that left-hand side threat has been, that right-hand side for the opposition, left-hand side for us, been solidified. Siopis is starting to play well again now because he's not having to wander out there.
He's looking so much better.
Yeah, and the balance tactically is much better now. Okay. And I think those two players have made a massive difference to us.
I suppose one of the things is, Al, if you think about that, going back to that Blackburn game, like you say, it wasn't the most exciting thing in the world. Blackburn aren't great. We got a 0-0 draw. And at the time, as you said earlier, we both sort of, took it with a pinch of salt that we turned the corner. But I suppose what's come through those last few games for me is that the new players in particular have started to kind of form partnerships and get to know each other. And I think that's, it's those new players which have really strengthened us up.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I was thinking with Wilson Esperand, Siopis and Grant haven't got a track back because the left back's not doing his job. In fact, it's gone a bit crazy, really, because Wilson Esperan's he's making these runs.
Yeah.
So he's actually helping them as opposed to them having to help him, if that makes any sense. Yeah, all over the pitch. You know, when we signed a new keeper, you know, I was a fan of Alnwick, I've got to say, but
I like him too.
But you know, I don't think he's thrown his toys out, has he? New keeper's come in, done really, really well. McGuinness had been my player of the season up until he was out. So to come in and not miss him is a real result, you know. I think, all over. It's just strange, isn't it? How we've gone from the last time I was on the show, we were saying how bad it was, and now all of a sudden we're saying we're world beaters, and you know.
Well, there's two things we probably don't want to do. There's two things I don't want to do tonight. Yeah, I don't want to say, look at the form we're in. We're going to batter Swansea on the weekend. Yeah, because tempting fate. And I didn't want to mention the playoff word, but Terry went for it. He's already said we're up, you know. So fair enough. But Terry, just coming back to
make a point on Swansea, though, Steve.
Yeah,
because I make this point to you, and I agree with you. I've prefaced what I'm going to say by saying I agree with you. It's not going to be easy out there by any stretch of the imagination. Anybody thinking we're going to go there and batter them need to have a look at the last 34 years of history of how difficult it is for a City team to go there and win. However, if you took their starting 11 players and said, put them in Birmingham side, for instance, and we were playing Birmingham away next week, rather than Swansea, and we had the same personnel that Swansea have got now, you would fancy us to go there and win. And I genuinely believe that they are in a similar position to where we were last season and the season before last, when it comes to the quality of, I think we are a better side than them. But does that mean we win the game? No, it's a local derby. It's going to be a battle, and their fans, for them, you know, for them it's everything, and we're going to have to match that intensity. But I'm just saying, if you took the quality of their players, other than Ronald, the winger they've brought in.
What's his surname again? Is it McDonald?
It's Ronnie Ronald, isn't it? And other than him, and other than, I would say, Matt Grimes and potentially Joe Allen, there really isn't anything there that is anywhere near top half championship level.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't mean I think we're going to win the game. I think it'll be very close, very tight, and it'll go a goal. It could go a goal and either way. But I wonder what the rest of the panel think of my view on that.
Let's go to Terry on that, because Terry, I think the first goal generally makes a massive difference in these games. I think if we get it, then you might just see the fans turn on Swansea, you know.
That's right. And again, it's one of those problems being the local. I mean, there's so much emotion about this game. The players get dragged into it. We need cool heads as well. One thing we do not want to do is somebody make a silly decision early on and get the red card starts flying. That's what tends to happen in these games. The emotions break in. The players are so pent up about the whole game. Somebody makes a silly move, and we get down to 10 men early on.
It's happened before.
The one advantage we have now is these wins back to back have lifted the confidence of the team, and it's nothing more than confidence that'll keep a team playing well. The players will start to throw. And Swansea are in and out of form constantly. So if we get the first goal, I think we're in for a 2 or 3-0 win. If they get the first goal, it'll put the pressure on players because it's a local derby and mistakes will happen.
However, the point you made earlier was a really good one, you know, that we went behind against Ipswich, who were flying, and we came back, we beat them, you know. So now we've done that. That's going to improve the confidence. Do you have a favourite Cardiff Swansea memory at all, Terry?
No, only the worst memories I ever got of going to. I used to regularly go to Swansea, and it was the only ground in the country I wouldn't wear my blue and white scarf.
Yeah.
And the one advantage is now, see, I remember when we played at the Vetch, and this is all coming back to the Vetch is now an allotment.
Hey, carrots!
You know, when they moved over to the Liberty, they were going to build houses on the Vetch. They couldn't build houses, so the local community took it over, and they now grow vegetables on the Vetch. So the best thing that ever happened to the Vetch happened when Swansea moved.
Yeah, well said. It should have been turnips, though, really, shouldn't it? You know, but there you go.
Turnips over there, yeah. But I mean, they're always brilliant things. They home or away. I mean, this local derby, the rivalry. I don't think there's any, even going back to Liverpool or the Manchester's, I don't think there's any more rivalry in Cardiff and Swansea.
Of course, Al Turnbull, you know, I'm guessing you would have played in the Big E in Scotland, you know, the Celtic Rangers match.
Yeah.
You know, if we look at the personality of the players we've got, you know, there's seem to be some pretty strong characters in that.
What I don't want us to do, like as in previous years, and we don't need Rowles to go in with a big tackle early doors to show them what it's all about if he was playing, or Siopis is more of a danger doing that, or Robinson last time when he lost his head. You know, we're a good footballing team. Okay, we can. What do they say? The Swansea way. We can out football them if we need to. I don't think we need to go crazy from the off and show them what we're all about. I think we'll play to our strengths. I don't think there's too much pressure on us. Okay, we're going into what I don't want, and I've been critical of players in the past. We're going into national break. I don't want them to be on the beach, you know, because they're all flying off to Dubai on Sunday. That's what we don't want. Okay, we want them to go out on a, you know, enjoy their break, but go out on a high. If I was Swansea, well, if they went to an international break on the back of a loss, they've got some really, really, really difficult games then on the other side of it. I just don't see that there's anything for us to be worried about.
If anything, Al, I think they're in real danger of overhyping this. Really are. Liam Williams, they're managing that at the minute. He's really, it's weird. Straight after the Bristol City game, oh, well, this one didn't really matter. We got next, it's the big one next week. You can easily see someone like Matt Grimes thinking, well, I have to put a tackle in here, get it, and that happening to them.
I agree.
Similar, you know, and I do agree with you, Al. I mean, I think we would have won there last season. We started brilliantly. We were the better side for the first 15 minutes, and then Robinson threw a ball at
ridiculous sending off, crazy.
You know what I mean? So all you need to do, in my opinion, is settle down. The longer play a bit of football, put them under pressure, and the rest will fall into place because it is toxic down there at the minute. And I'm looking at it dispassionately. You'd feel for their fans if they weren't our local.
Come on, Pete. Come on. You're going too far now.
No, I know. But if it was any other club and the way that they were being written by their ownership, you'd think, well, you know, they're the club in complete disarray. I feel for their supporters. I don't, Steve, actually.
Well said. I was worried there.
But I do think for us, if we play the football, I think Al's spot on. If we play the game and we match that intensity in a sensible way, but we're good with the ball, we're progressive, we get the ball out wide, have a go at those fullbacks, I think they're going to have to give us corners, set pieces, and we're the best in the league at that. And they're worried. You could feel the fear, and I think for us, winning the first one makes such a massive difference.
Yeah,
and I think we'll go there. With a bit of confidence. As I say, if you offered me a point now, I'd take it. But I do think I can see us going there and winning. You know,
I think the thing is with this little run that we got going now, the pressure's come off us to some degree. We're not going down there with this a must-win situation.
Pressure's on them, really, isn't it, Terry?
The pressure's on them because they're in the deeper trouble than we are. They can't afford to lose. To us at the moment, we're bad to lose from the point of view we're losing to Swansea. But the situation in terms of the position in the league, it's not going to make a significant difference. So I think we can agree with you. We can go down there, play football. They are under pressure. They'll be going for the tackles. They'll be trying to push the game on. We just got to bide our time, play good football, and we should come away with a win.
Sorry, Gal. I genuinely believe if they get beaten by us on Saturday, I genuinely believe they could, even though they got a favourable run in, they could easily get dragged into a battle. And whatever we think of them, they are a better side than Huddersfield, in my opinion, and some of the teams in the bottom three. But they've completely lost their way this season. They remind me of us a few years ago. They really do.
Well, you know what? It's exactly the same. I was going to say pretty much the same thing there, Pete. You know, if it was us going into this game and turn the tables, right? If Swansea had won their last 4 or 5 games, okay, and we'd lost our last one to Bristol City, and we were going to this game, I would be very, very nervous. I'd be thinking, they don't know that much about us, but they think, well, what's happened to Cardiff City? They're winning all these games. What players are we looking out for? And then they're thinking, oh yeah, they've got this lad from Celtic, they've got this lad from Man City. Oh my God, they must be really good. And they'll be worried. They will be worried about us. I've got no doubt about that coming up. And I'm absolutely delighted. Sorry.
That's brilliant.
It's nice that the tables have turned, because I've never gone into these games since we've come down from the Premier League feeling anything other than trepidation. You know.
Yeah, I'm the same. And I think they'll be feeling it. You know, I think Luke Williams, he came out on a brave face saying, "Oh, we're looking forward to the Cardiff game." They're not looking forward to. They used to look forward to the Cardiff game when we were shambles in disarray. Yeah. They won't be looking forward to it this time.
We got about 5 minutes, and I got a really important question which has just come in now for Terry from Ian YOY Stewart. He says, not a City-orientated question, but as Terry's with you, can he tell me it was too early to plant my pea seedlings? Maybe under a plastic cloche. And Wilson S. Brown was excellent. Any points? Any thoughts on his peas? Firstly,
yeah, well, mine are going to go in this week, so he can join them. Join the top. Ian, you can get them in this week, but put a cloche over them because it's still a bit chilly at nights, and you'll have some early peas. And then when we celebrate getting into the playoffs, I'll come and join you. We'll share a pod together.
Brilliant. I'm glad I asked you that.
The P word, Steve.
Why can't we speak about peas?
And Steve, brilliant point by Robert Flynn. I'm just looking at these comments.
Yeah.
I think this with the one aspect we haven't been able to talk about is it's the one below that. It's the referee. They a strong referee there. It's critical because we've had a few younger ones in the derby in recent years, and they can lose, and we had that, and we had a Darren Bond. I mean, he sent Robinson off. Robinson deserved to go, I think, but I think in another ref would have just said, right, let's calm it all down.
Calm it down.
There's a big problem. There's a big problem with refs at the moment, and what's happened is that with the Premier League, because they've got 3 Premier League refs on VAR every time, all the best refs in the country at the moment are all put shoehorned into the Premier League, whether they're watching games live.
That's worrying, isn't it?
Yeah. So what's happened is it's gone down and down and down and down and down. I mentioned earlier, I watched a League One game the other day, and their ref at that standard, it was his second ever game, in the league. Yeah. So that's what we're coming up against at the moment, and that's why a lot of the refs we're seeing aren't doing well. But for this sort of game, you need someone with experience, so who's going to be able to handle the occasion.
Be intimidated, and the atmosphere is going to be intimidating. You don't want him getting drawn up and try to prove he's a strong referee by making some rash decisions.
Yeah, because there's one thing Swansea will do, and I want to ask you a couple of things about just in the last few minutes, Terry, is for sure they will definitely try and wind us up. They will definitely try and make us do daft things, and they'll definitely try and reduce the number of players on the pitch, won't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but as I said, the advantage is now we're not playing for our lives. If we were going down there playing for our lives,
yeah, good point.
Everybody be desperate. It's not a game we've got to win. It's a game we want to win, but it's not a game we got to win.
But you get the dooba-doob, you got to get the dooba-doob. We're in business, then, aren't we?
We're on a high. We done one derby double. This is the second derby double.
Be beautiful, wouldn't it?
And that's going to be an incentive. Keep cool. We can do it. No rash decisions. Don't get dragged into the atmosphere. Play the football we know playing.
One other point, Steve, about why I really hope we win this game, other than the local rivalry. The ticket prices for this game are utter disgrace.
Good point. Yeah.
Utter disgrace. We charge them 23 quid, their fans, and rightly so. It's South Wales. the one thing we have got in common with that is a lot of villages and towns in South Wales are struggling at the moment, and to charge both home and away fans 38 quid for when you're 18th in the championship in the South Wales derby is an utter disgrace. And I hope we win for that reason alone, really, because there's that away compound is not worth 38 quid. Anyone who's been to the Liberty or whatever it's called now will tell you it's tight, it's horrible, it's not a welcoming experience. And I think it's fair play to the fans who were going. We've sold out, I believe. But I think that is disgusting to charge people in this cost of living crisis that money in an area like South Wales.
It's profiteering and just totally profiteering. They're ripping the fans off.
They're taking the liberty, they are, Terry.
They're taking the liberty, yeah.
But they'll know if however many tickets they give us, they know they could charge 40 quid. They know they're going to sell out. Similarly at home.
Same with Bristol City as well. They did the same. We charge their fans 20 quid with no restrictions. They put restrictions on us and charge us 35 quid.
I went, the Bristol City game. They didn't sell. The Jacks didn't sell out Bristol City at home, right? I don't think we'll ever find out. But I wouldn't mind betting if you were from Swansea, you could get a ticket for Saturday. I don't think it's sold out.
Listen, I've got to just mention a couple of things before we end, and then I'm going to whiz around for you know what I'm going to do in a second. Yeah. So Simon Willis from Ace Podcast Nation and Cardiff City World wants to mention, can you please subscribe and check out Cardiff City World Bluebirds content 7 days a week. Also, one of my students, Leah, has launched a Cardiff City phone-in Instagram page. If you could go on there and stick pictures and memorabilia and stuff, that'd be great. Be really good for her to do that. And also, talking of things like that, really nice idea from Cardiff City World. They're looking for as many fans as possible to send in videos, 60 seconds or less, with their favourite South Wales derby memory, preferred starting 11s, etc., and predictions of the score. Can you send them to cardiffcityworld@gmail.com? Bearing in mind, this goes out in 3 community radio stations as well, Terry, so that they're hearing it again. And also people listen to the recording, or also via direct message to Cardiff City World. So go for that. Thanks again to the support from Cardiff City World. It's great to be part of that. Let's whiz around now. And what am I going to do now? I'm going to ask you for a score prediction for the Jacks away. I'll go to you, Terry, first.
2-1 Cardiff.
Okay. Al.
I was going to say the same, but to be different, I'll say 3-1 Cardiff.
Excellent. I like it. Peter Bradbury.
I think it'll be a scruffy 1-0 Cardiff win.
Okay. So
I'll have Bristol City.
And so as we come towards the end of the show, again, we can use the line that the chap with who wears the belt on the talent show, that's 4 yeses from the jury. So thanks very much. Great show.
They need to channel it in a Michael Chopper, Steve. That's what they need to do.
Cheers, guys. See you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.